The nuclear domino. Could the Middle East enter a nuclear arms race?
Welcome to the bigger perspective.
The signals are subtle at first, not visible in the sky, not announced in headlines. They appear in procurement reports, in policy discussions behind closed doors, in quiet shifts in defense strategy. In Riyadh, advisors gather to review long-term security assessments. Documents circulate across polished tables. The tone is measured. The implications are not. In Ankara, strategic planners evaluate regional developments with increasing urgency. Maps stretch across screens, showing shifting alliances and emerging risks. Across global intelligence networks, analysts begin to ask a familiar question, one that has shaped international security for decades. What happens when deterrence begins to change? Because nuclear decisions are rarely made suddenly, they emerge slowly, through perception, through fear, through calculation. Meanwhile, across the Middle East, populations follow unfolding events with growing awareness, not just of conflict, but of what might follow. The central question emerges: if a war involving Iran alters the regional balance of power, could other states begin pursuing nuclear capability? And could that process reshape the security architecture of the Middle East for generations? Today's episode examines the logic of deterrence, the risks of proliferation, and the long-term consequences of a nuclear shift in one of the world's most complex regions. Nuclear weapons have long occupied a unique place in international security. Since the mid-20th century, their primary function has not been battlefield use, but deterrence. The idea is simple in theory. If the cost of conflicts becomes too high, conflict becomes less likely. This logic shaped the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union developed vast nuclear arsenals. Yet direct confrontation between them never occurred. Mutual vulnerability created restraint. But proliferation introduces complexity. When more actors possess nuclear capability, deterrence becomes harder to manage. The Middle East has historically remained outside large-scale nuclear proliferation. Israel is widely believed to possess nuclear capability, though it maintains a policy of ambiguity. Other regional states have not openly developed nuclear weapons. However, Iran's nuclear program has altered the strategic conversation. Tehran maintains that its program is for peaceful purposes, while many international actors view its capabilities as a potential pathway to weaponization. This difference in interpretation shapes policy responses. Some analysts argue that even the perception of a potential nuclear capability can shift regional calculations. Others argue that strong international monitoring and diplomatic agreements can prevent proliferation. Both perspectives reflect ongoing debate. What remains clear is this: nuclear decisions are rarely isolated. They influence and are influenced by the actions of others. Beyond immediate escalation lies a deeper transformation. A nuclearized Middle East would represent a fundamental shift in global security architecture. Deterrence would no longer operate through a limited number of actors. Instead, multiple states with varying capabilities and strategic doctrines would interact within a shared space. This increases complexity, and complexity introduces risk. Communication becomes more critical. Misinterpretation becomes more dangerous. Crisis management becomes more difficult. Military doctrines would adapt. Missile defense systems would expand. Early warning systems would become central to national security planning. Diplomatic frameworks would also evolve. New agreements might emerge, focused on transparency, confidence-building measures, and risk reduction. History shows that nuclear systems can stabilize over time. The Cold War eventually produced structured arms control agreements and communication mechanisms designed to reduce accidental escalation. But that stability developed over decades. A new nuclear environment in the Middle East would begin without those established frameworks, which introduces a period of heightened uncertainty. Structural shifts also extend beyond security. Global non-proliferation efforts could face new challenges. If one region moves toward expanded nuclear capability, it may influence perceptions elsewhere. In that sense, regional decisions can carry global implications. Several realities are clear. Nuclear capability fundamentally alters strategic calculations. Perception plays a critical role in deterrence dynamics. And regional security environments influence national decision-making. But uncertainty remains significant. We do not know how regional actors would respond to sustained shifts in deterrence. We cannot predict whether diplomatic frameworks would adapt quickly enough to manage new risks. And we cannot fully anticipate how global powers would respond to regional proliferation. What remains consistent is this: nuclear decisions are rarely inevitable. They are shaped by leadership choices, international pressure, and strategic calculation. History shows that restraint is possible, but so is escalation. Power in the modern world is often measured in visible ways: military strength, economic scale, technological capability. But nuclear power operates differently. Its influence is not defined by use, but by presence, by perception, by the possibility it introduces into every calculation. A nuclear shift in the Middle East would not begin with a single moment. It would unfold gradually, through decisions made quietly, through strategies adjusted over time, through responses to actions taken elsewhere. And once those dynamics begin, they rarely remain confined to one region. Because nuclear decisions reshape not only security, but expectations. They alter how states interpret risk, how they define stability, how they prepare for the future. Which means that the question is not only whether such a shift could occur, but how the world would adapt if it did. Deterrence can prevent conflict, but it also changes the system in which conflict exists. And sometimes the most profound changes are the ones that unfold without a single shot being fired.
What are your thoughts on today's analysis? We'd value your perspective. Share your insights respectfully in the comments below. Thoughtful discussion makes these conversations stronger. If you found this documentary informative and balanced, consider liking the video and subscribing for more in-depth global analysis. Until next time, thank you for watching.